So I just got home almost half an hour ago. I had to redo some of the clips because I just noticed when I edited myself, like when I was doing the final edits, there was a lot of contradicting statements. So I just came home from church. Was a really good church service. Sorry I couldn't get it because I forgot my tripod, and I didn't want to. My hands are already shaky like as it is. So imagine if I didn't have it. The video would be a little bit more shaky. So I was like, ah, and it wouldn't get really good feedback. But that's what I get for buying a generic tripod. But it was a really good church service. It was a really personable one. Personable in the sense that it was kind of a refresher course on how to pray, and not so much how to pray, but why Christians pray. And it was in the sense that not so much to ask for to be blessed, but to ask to not only bless others, but to bless the people around us, and how God not doesn't look in our minds, but in our hearts. If that makes any sense. But I think also as a part of the Church Life series, I'm kind of dreading going to this week's session because, and by this week's session, we have a leadership training. We're already on our seventh, I think, no, sixth session right now. I think we'll be going to our seventh session now. Yeah, seventh session. And I didn't do the homework. We're supposed to interview somebody, and I forgot to do the homework. Forgot to do the homework. And like either, especially like I tried to ask my dad, but my dad every time I ask him a question, he'll answer like, "Oh, character is really good," and then all of a sudden, and that's what you get to for interviewing an 82-year-old who needs his naps. Um, and on top of that, I would ask my mom, but my mom is busy and she would forget. And knowing me too, being ADD, I also forget. So it's kind of bad. So while I was in the restroom, I kind of flew a text to one of my dad's former employees, and he's now a private security head of private security. He was in Japan, but now he flew to California and he's living there now. Um, and right now it's like I texted him and his wife replied with her number, and he said, "Oh, my little brother, baby brother, or my son." I forgot the terminology, but it's a Hawaiian word for family, and it's in reference to being the youngest. And she said, he's busy right now. He's on assignment somewhere, and because he runs private security, meaning not like Securitas here that you see in the mall, but literal private armed security. Um, I can't really divulge what he does. I got a taste of what he does, and for me, right, honestly, it scares the living daylights out of me. So I would rather say hell no to that. But what I do love about him and his wife is that they brought me into the idea of DJing, and him and his late brother, I call him Uncle Tommy. Him and Uncle Tommy and his late brother got me into DJing when I was a little kid. Not so much little kid as I was in my early teens. Um, and if it wasn't for him as well, I wouldn't have met all of these celebrities that I've met, and I've gotten so much tidbits of information from. Like in regards to what the music industry is worldwide and how it reflects from city to city worldwide. Literally the practices and all that other stuff, and how you can remain true to yourself, A through Z when it comes to the music industry. And ultimately too, it was them plus my parents who really sparked my love for music. Not so much my parents because they would really play some weird stuff, but what my parents would do when I was a little kid was play real infomercial tapes and small lecture. And it was it was a very eye an eye-opening experience when I first touched the turntable. So they not only got me into music, but they really got me into. I'm sorry, I kind of lost track because watching this Mara bullshit on TV. Not the president himself, but this Mara bullshit where he's trying to give the crowd or get the crowd to vote for him, Mrs. Clinton, Secretary Clinton, and again and try to sway the vote away from Donald Trump. And it's some bullshit, and I can't find anything good to watch. I'm gonna change the channel to Iron Chef America. It's like the last bit, but anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah. Sorry about that. There's a long pause, but they really got me into music. They really sparked my love for music. Like I literally grew up from when I was age 8 to I think 15. I grew up on oldies and old hip hop. We're talking Biggie Smalls, Tupac Shakur, yes, 50 Cent, yes, some Dr. Dre, Eminem, and all that other stuff. And on top of that too, I was a big anime head. I wasn't an otaku at that time. Now I'm an otaku, which is basically a huge fan of anime. And I was into certain J-pop like Utada Yukaru, certain I forgot the name of this one Enka artist, but she's been doing this form of Japanese opera for roughly 23 years. Right now it would be now 40 years. Um, like she's been doing Enka, and her producers would blend not only the classic opera, Japanese opera, which is Enka, but it's also they also incorporate hip hop and EDM with it. I forgot her name, but she worked with Utada Hikaru on Passions, the soundtrack for Kingdom Hearts, and she worked on several other projects of her own. And I had a chance to meet her one time, and that also left a impression, a very big impression. But leading back to what I was saying about me dreading going back to this leadership training this week, just skipping this week's one, it's for me it's kind of disconcerting because I was doing so well up until today, and I do not want to backslide, especially because I know the pastor who's doing the stuff, and I know his son-in-law who brought me to the church. So it's kind of an egg on their face because they accepted me into this program. They've invested all of this time, and then here I am fucking up. So I just pray that tomorrow they're gonna be available. Hopefully at night, because according to the auntie that I texted, she said her husband should be home tomorrow night at around in Cali, on Cali side, Los Angeles time, because they're around 6 to 8 hours ahead, around midnight their time. So hopefully they're there because he stays up past midnight because he likes to watch his Korean soap operas. He DVRs everything and then he goes on a bender. So hopefully I'm not disturbing him when I do that. So hopefully I can get that shit done and then yeah. But again, recap on what I learned at church today. Prayer is based off your heartfelt expression, trying to get closer to God. Um, if you know you have a relationship, while it's good to show it, it also make you look like an asshole if you overdo it. So that concludes this church life vlog. Hopefully, it gets a little bit longer with a little bit better footage. Hopefully, I can get better B-roll heading to the church and whatnot. Me getting prepped and whatnot. And yeah. And as I've always said before, embrace the good shit. Fuck the bullshit.